So I'd like to read to you the following paragraph that attempts to answer the question: why does Jodo Shinshu matter? Okay, why does Jodo Shinshu uh, matter? So Jodo Shinshu, this is something that I wrote, so I'm gonna quote it. I should have put it up on the thing, but sorry about that. But Jodo Shinshu is a teaching that shares a worldview that sees all humanity embraced by the universal truth of clarity and warmth. Can you imagine having to walk through a dense forest in a long cold night without a torch to light the way and with no jacket for warmth? Right? We all have been meandering in the thick and daunting wilderness for how long, right? But now we have encountered this true and profound teaching. We have been shown this source of strength because others came before us to pass the torch of warmth and light, to help us see the way and walk in joy, hope, and confidence. As we embark on our journey, let's help pass on this teaching to others in following generations, which will help them find their unique paths, walking in the same light and warmth, end quote. Okay, so this is something that I wrote when someone asked me to write something about why Jodo Shinshu Buddhism matters. Okay, why does Jodo Shinshu Buddhism matter? And I'd like to talk a little bit about this today. Why does Jodo Shinshu Buddhism matter? It matters because this religion changes our worldview from one of me to me. Wait a minute, is it all about me, right? And that shift, that slight shift, is groundbreaking. It is such a small crack in the ego's self, but it's enough to allow the light of the Buddha's wisdom to seep through. Okay, and the Buddha's light makes us then say, maybe there's more to this world than just my ego self and my ego desires, right? And that's what this teaching gets us to do. It may seem like such a small difference, so small that the difference may seem negligible at first, but that's all it takes. That's all it takes to get us to see the world in a completely different way from before, right? But don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that, if you come to temple for about a year that you'll somehow become enlightened, right? Or that you will find a way to find calm in the face of, danger or anger all the time, right? This is how Buddhists are often stereotyped, right? But quite the contrary, actually we will be our regular Joe Schmo selves. But the difference is that we are aware of who we truly are and that we are accepting of ourselves, which in turn gets us to accept others around us as well. And this is made possible because the Buddha Dharma teaches us that we are okay just as we are. I like to focus on this phrase, we are okay just as we are, because I have a specific intent in using this word, but I think sometimes it gets misunderstood what this means. We are okay just as we are. In Japanese, this phrase is sonomama or ari no mama, right? Which means as is. And this implies then that in Jodo Shinshu, there is no bar that we have to meet in order to be accepted into the Pure Land, or there is no bar that we have to meet in order to be considered a good Buddhist, whatever that means, anyway, or that we must strive to become better people in order to prove that we are worthy of being saved. No, that's not what this religion is about. This religion teaches us that we are fine just the way that we are, with all of our good points and strengths, but also with all of our bad points and weaknesses. This religion teaches us that our spiritual lives is not a competition. It's not, one where we have to strive for excellence or that we have to move up in the ranks of spiritual superiority, right? That might be how this world works, or the workforce works, or how the mundane world, secular world works, but not the spiritual world. True religion is about awakening to the understanding that truth is right here with us right now, right? Embracing us, supporting us, protecting us, cherishing us. Truth grasps us. We do not grasp truth. Truth grasps us. We do not grasp truth, okay? We don't reach for it like we're reaching to get some kind of promotion in our occupation or reaching to make more money so that we can buy the house up in the hills, right? Instead, truth reaches for us, grasping us, embracing us, right? It's simply a matter of us awakening to this truth. But the problem is that this is very difficult. It's very difficult because, as I mentioned, this understanding is very counterintuitive to what we're normally taught, what we're normally used to, right? We're used to hearing things like, you should strive for excellence. You should strive to be a better person than you were before, right? You should strive to be a better person than what you are right now, right? This is what we are used to hearing. We're conditioned to hear this from early on in our lives, right? And these values are good to have to a certain extent, but because they teach us about hard work and striving for excellence, right? But it shouldn't apply to all aspects of our lives. It shouldn't apply to the spiritual aspect of our lives, because the spiritual life is about awakening to truth that is this light of warmth, right? That accepts us as we are. So in Jodo Shinshu, instead, the mindset is you should try your best, but it is okay if you fall. It is okay if you make it. It is okay if you don't, right? You are fine just the way you are. I'd like to give you an example that kind of explains this. Imagine having two sons, okay? And imagine one son is like this very good, studious student, always follows the directions, good at school, grows up to be very hardworking, very successful in his occupation, right? But that person doesn't have too many social skills, doesn't have too many friends, right? Kind of lives a little bit of a life of loneliness or life of solitude, right? And imagine you have another child who is just the opposite. He was growing up, bad student, always getting into trouble, a little rascal, if you will, right? This is I'm speaking from experience from my brother and I. But anyway, I won't tell you which one is which. But anyway, my brother, there's this kid who's a bad kid, right? But he grows up to be this very kind of fun-loving person and cares about other people because he knows what it's like to hurt people when he was a little kid, right? So now he grows up, we call it in Japanese, marukunaru, right? Very, it means very caring and very friendly towards and warm towards other people, right? And so imagine these two different kids, right? But imagine yourself as the parent. Which one do you choose over the other? I hope the answer is neither, right? Because both of them you love as they are, whether they're good parts and their bad parts, right? Both of them are equally loved by you, right? And this is the same way in the eyes of the Buddha. If we use the Buddha as if it was our parent, okay? The Buddha loves all or has compassion and embraces all sentient beings equally without giving preference to one or the other, okay? So in this religion, you can live a full life, right? Whether that length was 600 years, 60 years, 6 years long, or 6 minutes long. In every case, the individual has lived a full life in the eyes of the Buddha. No life is in vain, right? All lives are embraced by truth. That's what this religion teaches. That's why this religion matters, right? So when we say we are okay just as we are, we're not saying that you should just give up being a person of excellence and then you should just accept your fate and just accept your present state of conditions, right? We're not saying that. That's a misunderstanding of what we're trying to say. We are actually saying quite the opposite. We are saying that the Buddha Dharma provides us with a teaching that gives us spiritual strength and hope. That we are okay just as we are because we have been given a teaching that allows us to live freely and uniquely in this world. What more can you want? When we are grounded in the Buddha Dharma and we can freely be ourselves without any worry that comes after this life, where we can live here and now to the fullest of our ability, that's the life that I want, right? That's the way that I want to see this world, right? This worldview that I want, right? How about you? Would you like to see that too? Right? What else do you want in this life? Do you want happiness or peace or maybe harmony? With the explanation that I gave just now, match your definition of what happiness, peace, and harmony looks like. Right? So earlier I mentioned that this religion changes our worldview from one of me to me. Wait a minute, is it all just about me? Right? It's such a small crack in the ego shell, but it's enough to allow the Buddha's light to seep through. I hope you can remember this imagery because it's a very kind of powerful imagery. And the Onenbutsu then, Namo Amida Butsu, becomes this rock that tries to chip away at this ego shell that we have, right? All it takes is just a little crack, the little bit of light that seeps through, okay? And once that happens, we awaken to this whole new way of looking at this world. We realize how just how deep our egocentricity runs. Because of this, we are humbled in this nourishing kind of self-reflection, right? And we treat ourselves and others in a more sympathetic way and understanding way, right? Most of all, we see ourselves as beings who are embraced in the world of light and warmth. So today, I'd like to welcome you, or re-welcome you, to this religious tradition that provides us with a worldview that centers on the world of clarity and warmth. Okay, and with that, I'd like to close today. Please join me in Gassho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.